Hi page turners, Katja here, bringing you the latest Great Britain Sasakawa Foundation Translation Prize Shortlist 2024. The winner is going to be announced next month, which seems like the perfect time to share this list, and if Japanese literature holds a special place in your heart or you're curious to explore it, then I think these books are for you. Before we start, I can say I've read one of them and loved it. The others, almost all of them, have gone straight onto my must-read list, with some exceptions. But before we get into the actual titles, what is this prize and why does it matter? So the Great Britain Sasakawa Foundation Translation Prize launched in 2023 and celebrates translation, a true art form that makes it possible for us to explore stories from around the world and one of the fastest growing areas of publishing in English-speaking countries. According to the Booker Prize Foundation, in the UK alone, there was a 22% increase in translated fiction between 2021 and 2022. As for this month, the booksellers' list of predictions for 2025 confirmed that increasing demand in literature that's translated continues to rise. And if you're curious about this, I have a dedicated discussion that's coming up soon. If you clicked on this video, chances are that your curiosity is anyway sparked by the range of new authors now accessible to us. And today we're focusing on Japanese literature with this prize, which has the following key points for us to know. Eligible books were published in Britain between April 1st, 2023 and March 31st, 2024. The winner receives £3,000, the runner-up £1,000, and just as importantly, the craft of translation gets a well-earned spotlight, and so do the translators. So the results will be announced on February 12th, and I'll definitely be cheering for these incredible books, authors, translators. Now, in some cases, the authors have passed away. Before I give away too much, I will jump into the shortlist with you now. Starting with the one I read, What You're Looking For is in the Library by Aoyama Michiko. Written originally in Japanese in 2020 and translated by Alison Watts. I was so surprised to see this one on the list because I'm not used to seeing cozy fiction listed. This is like a hug in a book. We follow a librarian who changes the lives of people through her perfect book recommendations. And some of the titles that she hands out have these weird, they're weird titles. They don't seem to match the rest of the stack of books that she's giving the person who needs the books. And they're like, what has she just given me? But, they're really polite and they go away with the stack. It is warm, uplifting, and full of heart. So if you love cozy yet thought-provoking reads, it's a must-read. It is also lovely that cozy fiction is earning a spot in literary awards like this. It's often as though we think that only books dealing with heavier themes are considered to have literary merit. So I'm glad that this prize, at least, has taken a different stance. And if you're a fan of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, you'll enjoy the way that the story is structured with shorter, interconnected stories all linked together by the librarian. Then we go on to The Factory by Oyamada Hiroko. And this is one of the ones I'm not sure about putting on my list. Originally published in 2013 and translated by David Boyd. It is not the author putting me off. It is not the translator, because the translator, David Boyd, has translated Michiko Kawakami's books fantastically. It is not the author, because this book is their English language debut. So we haven't read Hiroko Oyamada in English before. So what's putting me off is actually the blurb, and that is that the story is set in a sprawling industrial factory in an unnamed Japanese city, following 3 Japanese workers with oddly specific jobs. One studies moss, another shreds paper, the third proofreads incomprehensible documents. I think the last one's actually quite relatable. Anyway, here's the plot twist. The factory itself seems to grow and evolve, slowly taking over their lives in a way that would be surreal, unsettling, and very Kafkaesque. I'm curious. It could be brilliantly bizarre or just not for me. If you're into the strange and thought-provoking, it might be one for you to consider. And if you've read it, let me know what you thought of it. Kappa by Akutagawa. published in 1927 in Japanese, translated by Alison Markham Powell and Lisa Hoffman Kuroda. It is definitely a classic that is going to go onto my list. I want to read more Akutagawa. It's hard to categorize, apparently, because people have interpreted it as everything from a children's story to a biting critique of Japanese society and even a socialist analysis. Written shortly before Akutagawa's tragic death, the novella feels like it exists in the space between dream and reality and is narrated by patient number 23, who has a mental illness and is recounting his journey to the land of the Kappa, mythical water creatures known for their mischievous and sometimes deadly ways. So it sounds like the world is satirical and strange and could be a sharp commentary on human flaws, reflecting the increasing turmoil that Akutagawa himself faced toward the end of his life. So it seems like a blend of ghost story, folklore, introspection, and definitely would be haunting and thought-provoking from one of Japan's most brilliant and troubled minds. Then we go on to Nails and Eyes by Fujino Kaori, and this was from 2015. Translator Kendall Heitzman. A collection of stories that has been described as tense, subtly disturbing, and perfect for fans of literary fiction like The Vegetarian or The Memory Police. And I put off reading The Memory Police, and I have decided not to read The Vegetarian, so I'm not sure about picking this one up. The title novella introduces us to a young girl addressing her new stepmother who has moved in shortly after her mother's death under mysterious circumstances. And as the story unfolds, the girl reveals an eerie and unsettling knowledge about her stepmother's life, and her obsession grows sharper and more dangerous. So it does sound intriguing and probably perfect for people who like books that elicit psychological unease. I'm not sure if that's me. Then we go on to Slow Down, How Degrowth Communism Can Save the Earth by Saitō Kōhei. This book caught my attention for its focus on the climate crisis, a topic I think a lot about, especially now that we've got these raging fires in California. And a shout out to my cousin Erica, who lives in Pasadena and who I've been speaking to while all of this is going on. I don't feel like I highlight a climate crisis or climate change enough on this channel, but certainly I follow a lot of booktubers who do. So if you're interested to learn more, definitely check out Margaret Pinard and Tasmin, who both have got a lot of work that always goes into Climathon, readathons every year. And I think Margaret's got a series of events on her channel as well. So definitely worth checking out. And Lena Norms, of course, huge channel. Personally, I'm very flawed when it comes to sustainability, and I don't want to be. So, in Slow Down, Saito poses a big question. Can green capitalism truly save the planet, or is the system so fundamentally incompatible with sustainability? And yeah, sustainability wise, at the start of 2024, I was shopping on Shein. So, yes, fast fashion central. Oddly enough, I wasn't buying like tons of clothes, but I did buy close to 20 or 25 fountain pens. And who needs that many fountain pens? But they were a fiver each. And then it hit me. I was originally using fountain pens because they're eco-friendly rather than single use. Because I bet a lot of you who use these single use pens were probably thinking, £5 for a pen? That's so, expensive. But if you're into fountain pens, that's actually a really low amount. Um, yeah, there are some crazy figures for fountain pen lovers, but most of mine were a fiver from Shein. And then I questioned my ways and I was like, why am I buying these from a company with questionable ethics? And last week, after, I've had the account closed for a while, last week I saw the BBC report on Shein's working conditions, 72-hour work weeks with only one day off a month for most workers. And that made me even more certain about my decision. And that's why Slow Down intrigues me. It sounds like the book challenges us to confront the impact of our personal choices and imagine a radically different way of living. While the term communism gives me pause because remember, I grew up in the 90s and I was still watching 80s movies like Red Dawn, and my parents liked to watch a lot of Cold War spy thriller movies. Yeah, but I digress. I think this could be an excellent group read. It's a book likely to spark thoughtful conversations around the politics behind the climate crisis and reconsider how we see growth, sustainability, and make our personal choices given the collective impact on our environment and future generations. So that is definitely going on my TBR. Kobe Hotel Memoirs. Author Saitō Sanki. This was originally written in 1975, translator Masaya Saito, and it's a memoir, which sounds fascinating. It gives us a glimpse of wartime Japan told through the eyes of the author Saito Sanki, a key figure in the new rising haiku movement. After being silenced by Japan's Special Higher Police Force in 1942, he moved to Kobe and spent the remainder of the war living in a rundown hotel and captures his memoirs of his experience of living with a diverse group of lodgers there. All these people who were stuck, Russians, Egyptians, Koreans, and Taiwanese residents, as well as Japanese bar hostesses, all scraping by in a hand-to-mouth existence. And despite the grim circumstances, apparently the observations that Sanke had are said to be filled with compassion, humor, and humanity. So it sounds like my sort of book. It seems that this book is only available in paperback format, and I'm now waiting for my order to arrive. It should be with me tomorrow. And there you have it. 6 incredibly diverse books, all on the Sasakawa Prize shortlist. And I think the lineup showcases just how varied and rich Japanese literature can be. Have you read any of these yet? Or maybe you have a favorite Japanese book that you'd recommend. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below. Or are you shocked that there's a favorite of yours that would have been eligible that wasn't mentioned? Yeah, I'd like to know. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for global recommendations and my discussion on translated fiction coming up. Thanks so much and take care.